Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's complimentary webcast on opportunities for fitness and nutrition professionals in the corporate space. Today's webcast is brought to you in partnership with the Corporate Health and Wellness Association and Amy Hoff. My name is Sarah Hunt. I'm the Education and Engagement Leader for the Corporate Health and Wellness Association. The Corporate Health and Wellness Association has a reach of over 1 million industry professionals with a dedicated following of 500,000 on LinkedIn. Over the last few years, we've had several groups and professionals come to us looking for education surrounding fitness and nutrition in the corporate space. With this growing trend and more employers going back to the basics with fitness and nutrition, we're excited to offer you today's complimentary webcast on fitness and nutrition, as well as to announce an entire track at our annual conference on corporate fitness and nutrition in the workplace. We're very excited to bring to you this very timely webcast regarding how individuals can get into the corporate space and take their career to the next level. Before we begin, I'd like to just showcase a couple of and share with you a couple of industry statistics. According to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention and Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, it's estimated that without change, some 86% of Americans could be overweight or obese by 2030. That means $1 out of every $6 in healthcare costs will be due to overweight Americans. Increases in obesity and chronic diseases have forced employers to go back to the basics with fitness and nutrition. According to SHRM's 2013 Employee Benefit Survey, more employers are offering on-site fitness classes than they were in 2009. In order to engage employees, employers are offering and getting creative with their fitness programs with Pilates, yoga, kickboxing, spinning. This diverse offering provides for greater employee engagement and participation in the corporate environment. On the nutrition side, we have some statistics from a benchmarking survey from Midwest Business Group on Health, where 100% of employers stated that they think they should have a role in helping employees improve and or manage healthy eating habits. 80% of employees said they wanted healthy on-site food choices, but only a third of employers said they offered such choices. In addition, 93% of employers indicated that providing an environment of healthy eating for employees is either important or very important. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome today's presenter, Amy Hoff. She's a corporate fitness consultant and co-founder of FitKit and Hoff Fitness. As a New York City-based certified fitness professional, Hoff consults on corporate health and fitness. She provides services to support internal wellness efforts, introducing fresh techniques and advancement development from across the health and fitness industry. Amy Hoff developed FitKit, a simple, portable, affordable employee fitness solution that is being used in companies across the country. Today, Amy will share her journey into the corporate space as a personal trainer. So we're excited now to pass the mic over to Amy Hoff. Amy?
Hi. Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear me? Okay, awesome. So, you know, that was really interesting, Sarah, some of those statistics. I had never heard those before, and it just kind of just solidifies my understanding of where this corporate wellness market is going and how important it is for fitness and nutrition professionals to get in now. So, Sarah, thank you for the introduction, and just a little bit more about myself. I've been a personal trainer for a little over 15 years now, and about, I guess, 6 or 7 years ago, kind of like with everybody else, you start to think about, okay, how else am I going to make some money? What else am I going to do? And so what I started to do is to broaden my offerings, if you will, into other areas. And so one of the big things I started to do is I became a spokesperson for a couple of companies, which sort of got me into the media, which was fabulous. But unfortunately, that didn't really pay all that much. So I sort of felt like I was being backed into a corner a little bit as far as like what I could do, and that was sort of me. That's kind of how I felt, where I kind of was like in this corner. I really felt stuck. I really felt like limited in, first of all, how much money I was making, because we all know that, fitness and nutrition professionals, usually we're working one-on-one, and that's only so much money that we can make in a day. So I was limited in how much money I was making. I was limited in basically what I was doing. I knew that my knowledge base was sort of being stagnant. I knew that there was more that I could be doing with it and sort of reaching a larger audience. And I also thought, all of these people in the corporate world, they get promotions, they get raises. And if I'm by myself, it's really hard to give myself that, unless I actually do it myself. So I knew that it was really up to myself to do something. And I also wanted to expand my network. I really wanted to reach out to other fitness professionals. I wanted to reach out to nutrition professionals, physical therapists, doctors, and really sort of increase my network and understand a little bit more of what opportunities were out there for me. So I sort of like something clicked inside my head, and I said, okay, I need to make the switch. I really need to figure out what else that I can do, and increase my skill set, and also, more importantly, make more money for the future. That was one of my biggest driving factors. And so I kept hearing about this sort of corporate wellness, corporate health and fitness, corporate health, and I thought, okay, that sounds interesting to me. I've never worked in the corporate market before, but there is probably something there for me, and that I could probably pursue something, but the questions started rolling in, like, did I even have what it takes? But more importantly, what did it take? I had no clue. So I sort of started down this road to really understand what opportunities were in this market for me. And so the more that I looked into it, I really came to realize most companies now, in today's society, the way that it's sort of like everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, everybody has corporate wellness programs. But what I started to find out was that they don't really have qualified, certified professionals in the fitness and the nutrition area. And they don't have those on board with them. They're not part of their team. So I thought, oh my gosh, all right, there might actually be something here for me. And what also started happening is the product that I have, FitKit, companies were starting to approach us saying, wow, this is great. We can logo this and give it out to our corporate wellness teams and to our employees and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of had the double edge there of corporate consulting and the FitKit. So I started to think to myself, where can I go and how can I learn the most that I can about this? So I really started to look, and the Corporate Health and Wellness Association kind of has everything together in one place. And so I started to look at the offerings that they had, and they had this giant conference. They had an expo, so I could take a booth for my FitKit, and I thought, okay, this is really where I want to be. So I did that. I went out to Vegas last year, and I took a booth for my product, and I also signed up and got on board to take the registered for the Corporate Wellness Certification Program, because I really felt as though I needed to soak up everything that there was out there about corporate wellness, because I needed to kind of understand if I was going to place myself as a fitness professional into this market, I really kind of to understand what the lay of the land was, and that I especially wanted to learn from the HR people and sort of the benefits managers and the corporate wellness directors, what they're lacking, what are their concerns, what are they missing, and how are the programs that they have now being executed. I mean, it was like one of these things where my head was exploding and I had so many questions. That's exactly what my brain looked like. And I also needed to understand where my knowledge and expertise was best utilized, because I thought, okay, I had all these great ideas, but was there really a need for it? What could I bring to the table? And also, what was already being done in successful programs? Where could I add value? So, all of these questions started coming up. First of all, like, where the heck do I start? Like, what do I charge? I knew what my personal training rates were, but I didn't really understand the whole pricing structure of all the different offerings I had in my head of things that I wanted to do. And I just really didn't know much about the corporate world. And quite frankly, I was very intimidated. I didn't even own a suit. And I'm thinking, do I even need a suit before I get into this? And so those are sort of the questions that were running through my head. And also what aspects of this could I really lend value to? So that was me. My head was swimming. And so I attended the conference in Vegas, and I just absorbed everything. I really got myself sort of involved with every aspect because I just wanted to learn as much as I could. And I did. I really sort of learned the structure of corporate wellness. I started to learn who the decision makers were, who were the key players in all of this, because I realized, okay, if I'm going to be approaching these people, I kind of need to know who they are. I kind of learned where my skill sets and my talents could be best applied. But more importantly, I really gained that insight of the corporate structure and how things are laid out, from sort of C-suite, which I never even knew what C-suite was. I had to Google it and look it up, and I found out C-suite is the CEOs, the CMOs, that sort of higher level of management. So I really understood also what HR was, what benefits was. I really didn't understand how those all kind of went hand in hand. And I really just learned basically what was I up against? What was ahead of me if I was going to choose this path? I walked away with so much info. Excuse me. My brain was swarming. I had a list of contacts because of all the networking I did, and I just sort of had this fire in my belly. But more importantly, it really just solidified to me the suspicion that I had that the corporate world and wellness programs really could absolutely benefit from the expertise of fitness and nutrition professionals. There was a real serious lack of that. So some of the general ideas that I just wanted to share with you that I kind of found out about some basics in the corporate wellness programs, just to kind of give you a little bit of an overview of what corporate wellness programs are, because I know many of you had just a lot of these questions that I've had. So this is really, if you were to take a basic wellness, a basic company, let's say, and they want to start a wellness program, these are some of the basic offerings that many start out with. Biometric screenings are a really big, popular baseline measuring tool. They do blood pressure, they do cholesterol, they do weight, and sometimes they even prescribe stress tests or cancer screenings, which are really great. They offer smoking cessation programs, which is really big because you got to remember the overall goal of these companies is they want healthy employees. They want to decrease absenteeism. They want productivity to increase. So anything that they can do to help their employees, smoking cessation is a big one. They offer walking clubs. And what I love about this is it brings sort of the community of the employee base together. So it's not just sort of them by themselves. It sort of gets them out involved with other people that they work with and kind of brings a little bit of a social element to it. They also encourage people to take stairs. I've seen some companies where days they don't turn the elevator on, which is really quite funny. You see people showing up to work with their sneakers and they're running up and down the stairs. They also have the Biggest Loser challenges and weight loss competitions, which again is another way to sort of bring people together. I've seen many companies where they put together teams. So maybe it's sort of the HR team versus the marketing team, or they break down those teams to do smaller groups. And so as a group, you kind of lose weight together. Then there's, of course, the activity trackers and the pedometers. And this is something that many vendors are coming down in their price in their offerings to companies because they realize the importance of offering this. And one other interesting thing that I've started to do is identify who those companies are, and I'm starting now to reach out and develop relationships with those vendors so that when I go into a company, I can bring them in with me as well. So it's sort of like an value add, if you will. So if a company is just starting up a wellness program and they need pedometers, I can help them, again, consult with them on setting up the program in general. And so then you're going to have those companies that have a little bit more advanced programs. They have a little bit more money. Their budgets are just a tiny bit bigger. And this is really fun because then they can start to really add additional offerings that kind of take you to that extra healthy level. One of my favorite is to see healthy vending machines. You know, that's a big one that I'm starting to notice. They're taking out all the soda machines and all the candy and snack machines that everyone's running to at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and really supplying them with healthy snacks and goodies and water and other nutritious things like teas even. And then, of course, there's the healthy snacks in the break rooms. Now, this is interesting, too, because I am a fitness professional, and at some of the companies that I work with, they need a nutrition person. So that's where I go out and I reach out to my colleagues and I bring them in. And we just revamped a company. They said, oh, no, we don't need help with that. You know, we have a really healthy snack room. And I went in there, and it was like tons of sugar-loaded yogurts, you know, and granolas that had tons of sugar. And it was just like tons of dried fruit. And I thought, okay, we can tweak this a little bit. So I brought in a colleague of mine to sort of consult with them on some other ideas from a nutrition standpoint. So that's another thing to look at as far as from some of you nutrition folks who want to get in there and get some work that way. And then there's also fitness facilities. So this is something where I'm learning many companies, again, with those larger budgets, have on-site fitness facilities. I was lucky enough to help design one here in New York City that actually just won an award. I wasn't the graphic design, what do you call it, the designer as far as the aesthetics, but I helped consult with the equipment that goes in there and laying it out and all of that, which was really, really a lot of fun. A lot of the companies that can't afford that yet or don't have on-site facilities, they're offering more discounts to the local gyms or the YMCAs or that type of thing. Then there's also companies that I'm noticing are starting to host Weight Watchers meetings, either before work, after work, or during lunch. I just got back from Texas where I was working with a company that was starting to set up bike storage rooms so that people can ride their bikes to work because they were afraid to lock them up outside. So I thought, oh my God, that's a brilliant idea. That's just another way to encourage health and fitness without putting too much stress on somebody. Say, sure, ride your bike to work. We'll lock it up. We'll take care of it for you inside. And then, of course, in those fitness facilities are the opportunities to be personal training, which we're going to get into a little bit more about the different offerings of what you can do. So now, it's not uncommon for some companies that have implemented really successful programs that have already done sort of the biometric screenings and the walking programs and the healthy cafeterias to sort of pass on, pass on increased offerings to their employees. So this was a new one to me. They brought in an ergonomic specialist. And this happened because I was working with a group that I was trying to figure out from my perspective what it is that the employees needed, because HR and corporate wellness directors, they can only kind of see a little bit of what really their employees need, but you and I, we sort of see the body differently. And so what I did is I took a survey of the company, of the people that sit at desks for 5 or more hours a day, and what issues people were having. And many people were having issues with their lower back, with their knees, with their neck and straining and that type of thing. So I enlisted an ergonomic specialist to come in, and she went through and worked with about 30 or 40 of their employees and really adjusted everything in their workstation. And it was amazing how that increased the productivity. So those are sort of the little things that companies that have a little bit bigger budget are starting to do. And then, of course, physical therapists. You know, they're starting to realize that as the population continues to get healthier and healthier, more and more injuries are happening. So if an employee gets an injury and they need to go see a physical therapist, and they make an appointment at 2 o'clock with their physical therapist across town, they're going to have to leave probably an hour to get there, an hour at the physical therapist, and an hour back. So they realize that that's more absenteeism, so what they're starting to do is bring on physical therapists into their on-site facilities, which I think is brilliant. Another thing that they're doing is also therapists to handle behavioral issues, mental issues, occupational issues, which is really great to see because, you know, unfortunately with somebody like Robin Williams, we're understanding that it might not be as obvious, but they are starting to bring on teams of people that can sort of identify employees that could use an extra help in counseling and that type of thing. They also are offering alcohol and drug addiction programs, which is also great to see. So those are the higher end companies that I like to kind of see what they're doing. But then again, what more can they do? So from what we're learning, this is where companies are starting to say, okay, we want to grow our offerings. We want to increase our employee participation. We want to develop new ideas and stimulate engagement and retention into the programs. So many of the companies that we know are there to a certain extent, but what's happening is many of them are hitting a wall now. They've sort of grown as far as they can, and they're really unsure of what to do next. They don't know how to take it to the next level. They understand wholeheartedly the benefits of physical activity and healthy eating, and they believe in the value of implementing both of these into their programs, but they have no idea really how to do it. And more importantly, they don't have the skill set. So that is where you come in, because this is where all of you who are in the fitness and nutrition industry, you have the skill set. You have the knowledge base. You have exactly what it is that they need. You have the degrees. You have the certifications. So, the question is, if you're looking at these pictures and you're saying, okay, yeah, that's me. I'm working one-on-one with my clients, but I also want to grow my company, my business, my offerings. What can I do? So the question is, how do you go from being a personal trainer to this? How do you go from working in the weight room to the boardroom, so to speak? From teaching one-on-one, which is what most of us do. We teach one-on-one, and how do you take that and translate that to doing speaking engagements for companies, or even lunch and learns, which is sometimes a lunchtime offering that companies offer their employees to educate them on nutrition and fitness and stress management and all those kind of good things. And how do you go from sitting on the gym floor to sitting around a conference table, brainstorming with the HR teams and the corporate wellness directors about developing a plan. So this is also where you can use your skill set. So again, I go back to the point where, we are used to working with people one-on-one. We sort of understand the human body and how it works. And some things that we may see in their employees that they may not. So we're able to go in and identify certain needs that their employees might have from a physical activity and a nutrition perspective that they might not know. And so also taking this to another level, if some of you are interested in working in a facility on their site, maybe as a personal trainer in the gyms at the corporate sites, or as a nutritionist, or maybe even managing fitness facilities. So there's a lot of different opportunities for you. And it's just amazing to me. I just love this slide just because it's sort of, I look back at where I was 2 years ago and just doing personal training and where I am now, and just the success that's out there and the business growth that is to be had. But the truth is, I kind of learned the hard way. And that means basically I did it for myself. There was nobody out there to teach me how to do this. And there's a lot of success to be had in this corporate space. I mean, so many of the companies are allocating their budgets and their time and energies to really build on their corporate wellness programs. And those funds are available to you. Those are the budgets that they're looking to spend, which you could be, taking in. And they're also looking for consulting people to come in here and there to help on small projects and just develop and collaborate on ideas. So there's just a ton of stuff that you can do. And what we want to do in this certification program is to teach you how to do it all. The people that you're going to hear speak and the employers and the case studies, we've all been through it. We sort of have had to sort of figure it out on our own. And we want those who are working already successfully in this market, we want to share with you what we learned, share with you our paths, our struggles and, our successes, but make sure that you don't go down those same paths that we did. We want to save you a lot of this time and effort. And we basically want to teach you what we already know. And so what we are going to teach you is the A to Z, the ins and outs, up and down, and everything in between. This is a great certification that I was so honored to be contacted to help develop this, because I realize how important it is for my fellow colleagues that are nutritionists and dietitians and personal trainers and physical therapists to be able to grow their businesses and to really get a certification in this. There's nobody else out there doing this. And it's just going to sort of give you that credibility to be able to walk into a company and sell yourself. It's going to give you the confidence and the knowledge and the networking and all of those to succeed in the corporate wellness market. So I'm really excited to sort of be working on this, and we've put together an amazing program. I'm very excited. But the truth is even if you get the certification, that's all well and good. But the million-dollar question is, okay, how do I make that transition? How do I, once I get the certification and I learn everything, how do I take it from being a personal trainer or a nutritionist to getting into corporate, to the corporate market? Taking that leap is a little scary. What is necessary to get you to that level? Many of us work one-on-one with clientele. How do you know when you're ready to give up that clientele and move your entire business into the corporate wellness market? Do you even have to give them all up? So these are sort of the questions that we're going to kind of help you decipher and understand. I left the conference last year as a personal trainer, and even though I had a product and sort of dabbled in the corporate market with my product, the Fit Kit, I had, I guess, a million ideas running through my head. I put them all down on paper, and I started to think to myself, okay, I have an idea. I know where I want to go. And I sort of defined strategies, and I kind of put it all together. And I wasn't quite sure how to get there. Like I said, I knew what I wanted to do. So I did have a strong understanding, knowing, though, that the corporate wellness market was lacking this, and that it could certainly benefit from what I had and what all of you have. So I had to kind of figure out how to get through that maze, if you will. So what I started to do was I had my idea. I put it down on paper, and I started to think to myself, okay, if I had a small company that I'm working with, like, I need to have an idea that I can also scale it to a larger company. And I started to come up with the ideas, and I wasn't quite sure how to get it out there. So what I did is I started to talk with HR people, corporate wellness directors, corporate wellness consultants, and kind of said, hey guys, this is my idea, this is where I want to go, this is what I want to do. And so I started connecting with some of these people, and they said, great, write up a proposal. I was like, okay, great. I have no idea how to do that. So I had to teach myself, how do I write up a proposal? And this is where I started to get kind of like stuck on what does that even look like? Again, I've never worked in the corporate world before, so I've never had to write up a proposal. But I was able to sort of come up with some ideas, and then I started to realize there's pricing structure involved. So if I were to go in and want to sell myself as teaching a lunch and learn versus teaching or speaking to 500 of their employees, is there a price difference? How do I figure out what do I charge? If I'm working on a project of helping them develop a corporate wellness program, is that a project base? How many hours does that involve? How much is my day rate? What is my project rate? That type of thing. So I really had to sort of figure all of this out on my own, which again, we are going to teach you everything. These are the kind of questions that kind of scared me, but I thought, I want this challenge, I want to figure this out. So this is where we are going to help you, take you through the nuts and bolts of everything. And these are just some of the ideas of things that you can go in and do with companies. There are a lot of ideas that are out there, but what I'm learning is that doesn't mean that's the end all. Like, I'm starting to realize, like, wow, okay, I've got this new idea. Let me just throw it out there and see. And corporate wellness programs and different companies are hungry for that. So I want you to start to really think about what you have to offer and go out there and be able to sort of promote what it is that you're best at. Find out what your strengths are. If you do fitness and facility design management, maybe that's going to be your niche. Maybe if you are great at management or program design, maybe you can help the HR team figure out some new ideas, come up with different kinds of challenges. Maybe you can do a 5-week training plan for a 5K run, anything like that. So there's all different levels of things that you can do. And one of the things, again, like I said earlier, I started to realize thinking outside the box of other things that I can offer. And so there's, of course, the coaching, which is what we're all really good at, but how do you scale that? And also, what tools can you offer their employees? And that's where I started to go to vendors to get the pedometers, to get compression wear, to get nutrition journals and things like that could benefit the employees and also can kind of give employers a chance to give an incentive for joining some of these programs. How do you get out into the community? How can you get the community involved? How do you get the C-level involvement? Now, this is another really big topic that we're going to talk about a whole entire hour on, about getting involvement and getting the upper management involved. And also how to recruit champions. So if you can't be there the entire time, maybe you can work with a few key people in the employee base that can then take that program that you've developed and sort of work from it internally. Also newsletters, maybe there's weekly newsletters that you can create with nutrition and fitness advice. Social media is also a big thing that I started managing, groups in company pages of Facebook pages. That's been really a lot of fun, and we've been doing a lot of internal challenges that way, so that's also another really great thing to think about. Teaching boot camp classes, teaching yoga classes, all of those things that you're already really good at, think about how you can implement those into other programs. So this is also, I'm going to share with you sort of something that is personal to me. I'm finishing up a big project right now, one of my favorite projects so far. And what it is I sort of thought to myself, if I, in a perfect world, could walk into a company, go to their corporate wellness director or their HR team and say, guys, this is what I want to do to your company, and offer all of these different things. And so I thought, all right, how am I going to do that? I really want to do this. So I found a colleague of mine who is a corporate wellness consultant. And I said, okay, this is my idea. I want to take this to one of your clients or find somebody, and I want you to work with me on this to go in and implement all of these ideas. And what I realized when I was putting the proposal together was looking at the programs that I've already worked on, looking at some of the companies and what they're doing, I realized a lot of them were high-tech. So they had tracking devices, they had people logging on to different sites and doing challenges online and things like that. And I realized what was missing, I felt, was sort of that high-touch component that I wanted to try to bring to the table. As a personal trainer, I understand how important that high touch is, where you can make the person feel special. You can make them feel like they're the ones that are really making advancements. They have somebody sort of to be their own little cheerleader, that type of thing. So we went to one of her clients, and they said, sure, come on in, let's do this. So I went in and helped implement an 8-week challenge. It was sort of a pilot program, and we had 40 participants. And it was really fun, and we're wrapping it up right now, and the early results are showing some really interesting findings. And mostly that high touch is really important, and having that factor. So just remember that as you're going into this market. And also, we're going to be on a panel at the conference next month in D.C., sharing the results of this. And we're really going to break it down head to toe, up and down, sideways, and really share with you how we made this happen, which is, it's kind of a fun way. Again, this is a chance for you to sort of learn from all of the mistakes that we've all already made. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for that. And just on a last note, this is something that a lot of HR people and corporate wellness directors say, oh, wow, that sounds great. Can you scale it? And at first I wasn't quite sure what that meant. And then I really learned very fast that you do have to have a program and an offering that can be scalable. Now, if you're going in to work on in a fitness facility in a company and you're doing personal training or one-on-one nutrition, that's not what we're talking about. This is more if you have bigger ideas that you want to take into a company and sort of really help them build something larger scale. So you need to understand how you can do that because every company is different. Everybody has a different budget. They have different employee sizes. They have, some depends on how much space they have available. Also, various populations. All of you know, you can work with people that have completely different populations. One of the things that I brought to this project that I was just telling you that we're wrapping up on is I understand the benefit of having a Biggest Loser challenge or a weight loss competition, but not everybody in every company wants to lose weight. So you sort of really need to understand, okay, what about those people who want to build muscle mass, or they want to gain weight, or they just want to reduce their stress, or they want to sleep better? Those are the kinds of things that you kind of need to figure out how to scale. And so those are all of those things that we're going to go over in the conference and when you can get your certification to learn all of this. So I know I went through a lot today. I just wanted to share with you, these are some of the companies that I have worked with. On every single one of them is with a different level of involvement. My role was very different in each and every one of them. But I wanted to share it with you just to show you the potential that's out there and that the corporate wellness market is growing and it is ripe for you and me and all of us to sort of get into now and really build our offerings and make more money, which is, one thing that as personal trainers and nutritionists, we know that there's only so much we can make in a day. So this just, as a consultant, it just opens up a whole new world for you. So with that, I think I'm going to turn it back over to Sarah, or if there's any questions now, I can certainly answer some. Sarah, how did you want to do that?
Okay, sorry there, had a little difficulty. Thank you so much, Amy. It was great. We now want to open it up to the audience to ask any questions for Amy that she can address either in kind of the direction of the corporate wellness space, fitness and nutrition, or questions regarding her journey. You can type them in the Q&A box at the bottom. Okay, so we have one question here from Jessica. She says, or from Mark, I apologize. Please give us an example of a program you've been able to scale. What were your largest barriers?
There we go. Is that back on me now?
Yep.
Okay. Well, so this is one of the things that we're learning with the company that we just finished working with. How can we scale some of that? I think that the biggest issue with scalability is that high-touch component to it. If I'm used to working one-on-one with people and I want to take that into the corporate market, how can I scale that? So those are the things that we're sort of learning, how we can do that, more of a one-on-one approach, I guess, where we can scale that. And I have found a couple of ways around that. One thing that I've done is worked with a nutrition professional that I brought on board to help us with this, is tracking and understanding what people were eating. So I had people join MyFitnessPal. And I realized that what that was going to do was going to put everybody, all of the employees, into one place, and they can track their food, they can track their exercise, they can share with each other, they can friend each other, they can kind of see what they're doing. But what enabled me to do was to go in every day and go by and just kind of see that so-and-so burned, Lucy burned, 550 calories doing a boot camp class. I can like that. I can make a quick comment on that. So it was just sort of a way for me to engage myself with them in sort of a more scalable way. We also were able to do a Facebook group, which is they wanted more one-on-one contact. They wanted to be able to share. This was the issue that we had. We had a lot of employees who wanted to share their successes. They wanted to share some great workouts. They wanted to share their cheat days. They wanted to share new recipes that they had. And we really didn't have a place to do that except in the newsletter. So what we did is I created and managed a Facebook page for that. So those are two examples of how I kind of scaled that. We are looking at ways to scale some of the other things, and like I said, we'll be sharing those at the conference because that's a big thing. That's a really important issue right now with HR.
Okay, Amy, we have another, we have got a lot of questions coming in. Sharon asks, was she commenting, we will share a little bit more about the conference and certification after the Q&A, so stay tuned. Plus, we have a special discount to attend for free. So, but we have Hosea. He said, he asked, what have you tried that hasn't worked in a corporate setting that works well one-on-one?
That's a really good question. I think this, so what I'm learning is most of you who've worked with people one-on-one, whether you're a nutritionist or you're a personal trainer, most of you have built up a history with those people where you know their families. You know what they're eating every single day. You know, but their bowel movements. You know their sleep patterns. You know their stressors. You know what is going on at home with their families. And so you can bring that into working with somebody and how you can develop a program for somebody individually. Transferring that component to a larger scale and into a company is really challenging because sometimes you can't get quite as deep with somebody to really understand what their issues might be, and I say issues, whether that be maybe somebody has constant migraine headaches, maybe somebody is celiac, maybe somebody has arthritic knees, maybe somebody is going through a divorce. You know, those are all things that as personal trainers and nutritionists, we take into account to develop their programs, which we don't have that ability, I think, on a corporate level. That's a struggle.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. Scott asks, how are you getting into most of your new opportunities? Are you being referred in from who or cold calling or another way?
All of the above. Yeah, this is something that I've kind of had to sort of feel my way through. I'm using so many different ways to get to those decision makers and find out who the key players are. LinkedIn is a great resource for learning of what people do, and I ended up subscribing to that premium membership so I could kind of touch base with a lot of those people. Last year at the conference that we're doing again next month, I'm still working through those contacts that I had from that. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, I'm somebody who, when I go to something, I really put my whole heart into it, and I took a zillion business cards. I've also talked to friends. I've talked to family. Once I started to let people know what I do, they say, oh my gosh, my husband, I know they have a great corporate wellness program. They could probably use somebody like you. I say, great, put me in touch. I will say, one thing that I've learned that I would love to share with you is that try not to let someone else sell you. So meaning you don't want your friend, your sister, your boyfriend going in and saying, hey, I know this great person, they do blah, 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 they can come in and do blah, 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 blah. You don't want that because they're never going to get it right. No one can sell you as well as you can sell you. So what I ask them to do is either I write an introductory email and ask them to pass it on, or I ask for their contact information and let them know that I'm going to be contacting them, because you don't want somebody fizzling out your opportunity before you even get to present it.
Okay. Heather asks, when asked about budgeting, what should we share with our clients on what to expect or what is the best startup, keeping in mind that our client range is typically 30 to 50 employees?
You know, budget is, I'm assuming you're talking about what your fees are going to be and what you're going to charge. So how I've kind of gotten around this is I have a basic proposal with all the different offerings I have, from project development to lunch and learns to managing Facebook pages. And then what I do before I actually give the proposal, I try to understand a little bit more about what their budget is, and then I sort of design the proposal based on that. Now, one thing that I've really learned too is that some people are against this, and this is where you'll hear difference of opinions. I like to say that I can be negotiable, because I don't want to shut myself out completely, especially if it's an opportunity to get in the door of working on one project where I see the potential for a lot more. So I want to make sure that I can get in. I'd be happy to take a little bit more of a less amount of money and get in there, get my feet wet, really help them grow the company and grow their corporate wellness program, and possibly offer up other opportunities in the future. I don't know if that answered your question. Hope it did.
And just to let everyone know as well, after the webcast, we will send you a recording of it where you can ask additional questions as well. So thank you, Amy. We have one more question that kind of ties into the overall theme of and goal in this webcast. If you're not already a certified personal trainer, is it still feasible to get the certification? Belinda says, I'm in HR and have started up our wellness program and thought this would be a true value and benefit for me and the company.
Okay, so that is a really interesting topic, and we have been discussing this about how we're really looking for people who are already certified in a nutrition or fitness professional certification of some sort. Now, I'm not quite sure, and Sarah, maybe you can answer this, where we do know that many of these talks that we're going to be giving, the courses that we're going to be giving, are going to overlap with the corporate wellness track. So there's going to be some tie-over of those. But maybe, Sarah, you can talk to the point of whether or not HR professionals and corporate wellness directors are able to get this certification.
Yes, absolutely. So as Belinda, as a certified personal trainer, what this designation, the certified corporate fitness professional, the certified corporate nutrition professional, will give you access to is the employer case studies that focus on innovative solutions and programs and strategies specific to fitness and nutrition in the workplace. What Amy is referring to is we do have a certified corporate wellness specialist program as well, in which the curriculum, portions of the curriculum will count towards continuing education for. And I'll just go through some of the slides regarding the events, the certification. As we mentioned, as Amy mentioned as well, she attended last year's Corporate Wellness Conference, which is put on by the Employer Healthcare and Benefits Congress. It's taking place this fall, September 20th through the 24th in D.C. Again, our focus is on reading employer case studies, so you're learning from those that have kind of gone through the trials and tribulations and learning what not to do and what to do in regards to corporate wellness. You can get certified while at the event, either becoming a certified corporate wellness specialist, or we have the two new designations in fitness and nutrition, corporate fitness and nutrition. For employers, you can actually gain access and credits towards your SPHR credit also while attending these sessions at the event and getting your certification. For more information in regards to the event, visit corporatewellnessconference.com. And just highlighting some of the different employer case studies you can have access in sitting in on sessions. Again, the Corporate Health and Wellness Association, as a result of really the industry coming to us and looking for more case studies focused on fitness and nutrition, we've launched an entire track dedicated to fitness and nutrition. We've got over 10 educational sessions, and this is in addition to our Corporate Wellness Conference track agenda. Focused directly on fitness and nutrition. We've got case studies with Chipotle, LinkedIn, Verizon, and Tesla Motors, and many more. Here's just snapshot of some of the speakers at this year's event. Some other highlights aside from the Fitness and Nutrition Conference track, we'll be hosting our 3rd annual Healthy Foods in the Workplace Forum. We've had huge success with this in the past. Amy brought up, how employers are getting creative in terms of stocking and swapping out some of their unhealthy foods and sodas with more healthier foods. We've got employers that are setting up healthy break rooms. So this is just a forum where employers and industry professionals can come together and share some of those best practices, innovations, and trends. Going on to trends, one of the biggest trends in the industry now are wearable devices. So the CHWA has put together a really exciting competition, think tank, and awards where employers and other attendees can demo out various wearable technologies throughout the event. And then we'll bring everybody together to kind of give their feedback and help shape the direction of the industry as we see more and more employers beginning to offer these types of devices in order to engage employees in healthy behaviors. We'll also have our first on-site clinic workplace forum. And again, the 2 designations that, we've discussed and mentioned today and that Amy has been so helpful and supportive in developing and bringing to fruition so that we can provide you all, industry professionals, kind of a roadmap and help you in your journey into the corporate space. Both of those designations you can receive while attending the event in DC. Here's just a snapshot of some of the curriculum. Many of these things were situations that Amy kind of had to go through on her own. I love, one of the topics is sweatpants to a suit, approaching the corporate market. We'll be sharing a lot of case studies with employers, overall big picture of understanding corporate benefits. We have a case study with LL Bean on how they took a pilot program and addressed health issues in employee population related to obesity, and then how they took what they learned in that and did another pilot program that was a little bit more improved. We have a session on wearables as well and creating a healthier break room and many more. So the dates again for the event are September 20th through the 24th. And today we'd like to offer all of you an exclusive and tremendous discount, but in getting certified at the event, we are waiving the registration fee to attend. So you can visit corporatewellnessconference.com, click on registration, and just enter in the code HEALTHYU. And when you purchase either the fitness or the nutrition certification, we will waive your registration. Again, our whole goal and interest is to help grow the corporate wellness space in a positive direction, help providing education and tools to help in doing that, and in the end, share employer successful case studies. So with that, I want to thank Amy Hoff for your time, for lending your expertise.
I have one if I could. Okay. So I also just wanted to say that, I know a lot of people have questions, and I love helping people build this part of their portfolio, sort of getting into this market. So if you do come to the conference, make sure you come see me. I will have a booth in the corporate wellness market for my Fit Kit, but also I'll be around all the 4 days. So just hit me up, ask me any questions, or feel free to email me. Honestly, I'm ready to answer any questions that you might have. That's all.
Nope, thank you, Amy. And Amy's great. So for any of you, she's awesome to kind of pick a brain. And again, she's been very helpful in helping to build this designation to help each and every one of you. So thank you, Amy, so much for all of your support and in helping the CHWA and in helping to shape the industry and helping to educate all of the industry in fitness and nutrition.